Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, Predictions, Sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everybody? It's EVP from the EVP Show, and I'm live for your WWE Raw Recap Show, live here on the EVP Show. Glad to be back with you guys. Hopefully, you guys had a great Father's Day. When I made this stream for yesterday, I did not realize that it was on Father's Day, so I do apologize. I know that yesterday was going to be the last Sunday night scoops before there wouldn't be a Sunday night scoops next weekend due to the WWE Clash of Night of Champions PLE, and also next Sunday is the Great American Bash on PLE. So I do apologize for that. There will not be a Great American Bash. There will not be a Sunday Night Scoops next Sunday or an LFG, as I'll be covering the NXT Great American Bash Recap Show that Sunday night. It's going to be starting about that time, so when I normally do scoops. So, yeah. We will proceed. I'm looking at the date right now. We will proceed with Sunday Night Scoops when the first Sunday of July. But since I had to cancel last notice on, well, not last notice, but like early in the day Sunday, I know a lot of you guys, or a couple of you guys, for a couple of Scoop Show had a bunch of questions and stuff like that. This is a Raw recap, but obviously I'm not going to give out news today, but I will, before I get started on the Raw Recap Show, I will dictate about 20 to 30 minutes, no more than that, because I still have to go over this entire Raw show, which it wasn't super long, and I can probably get through that in around an hour. So I will open it up so that I answer some of the questions that some of you guys may have had on Sunday Scoops yesterday. This is something different, obviously, because this isn't a scoop show. I will not be putting news out. A couple of updates. I don't like to, I work for a great company, and I'm not going to, disband the character of DWE, but I also have to speak out for myself when it comes to stuff. It was brought to my attention last week that someone from a different news source reached out to someone that is a mainstay here on the EVP show, especially on the Sunday Night Scoops, and he is a big supporter of mine, and he comes in. He's been on every one of my prediction shows. Not every one of my prediction shows, but he's been on every single Sunday Night Scoop show that I've had. So this person, they know who they are. Like I said, I'm not going to do it live. I don't want to get in any trouble or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm going to defend myself. I will say this: the person that said that, I still news is it's absolutely false information. If people know my story and know everything that I've been through over the last year and a half, I am not going to waste another $15 to $20 that over the last years been a real struggle for me to steal news from somebody else. Also, I don't work with Zero anymore. We still have a Discord together because me and my girlfriend helped build that Discord. So there's not a lot of communication there on that, but it just works. Like he, you know, he runs the Discord. I come in there, but I use that Discord as a news channel, as I did today when I posted on X, Lyra Valkyria turning. I know nobody else had that. I don't, they just didn't. And then the Street Profits winning the tag titles today with Seth's interference and Joe Henry. I'd never seen anyone post about Joe Henry coming back today on Raw. So I don't know the circumstances. I have the screenshot, so it's not like I'm making it up. But I can tell you that, I don't appreciate it. I've always given credit where credit's where I always give credit where credit is due to the news outlets, the Fightfuls, the WrestleBoats, even Meltzer when there's something that Meltzer puts out that's accurate. Mainly WrestleVotes and Fightful are the ones that I feel like are the most accurate. When it comes to WWE stuff, but I'm never gonna shame anybody for this type of work. I've been busting my ass for over a year, doing these shows. I stream more than probably anybody in the community besides maybe Jimmy Santi's app and those JD and all those people, Monster and Not Sam and all them. They have a way bigger platform and way more subscribers, and they're getting paid. I'm not making anything off of YouTube, so I do this for fun. I do these scoop shows for fun. I get a lot of shit right. It is what it is. But as far as me still news, I wasn't the CJ EVP of 2 years ago or even a year ago before I got WWE would have called them out on X, but I'm not doing that. I'm not tagging them. If they want to say what they want to say, I just will not support that company whatsoever. If you post that shit in my chat, then you're gone. At the end of the day, if you, I can't tell you who and not to support. But if you support that company, when I've been doing this for so long, close to a year, and I do it all for fucking free. At the end of the day, I don't charge money. I am pissing to now, because my accuracy rate is climbing up. I made the Sunday Night Scoop show for you guys, for people that don't want to pay $12, $13 a month or $9 a month. Like, this is fun for me. And it's not fun for me when people are talking shit, saying I'm still in news. I don't, or if I don't release my source, well, I'm not going to fucking release my source and have to get fucking fired. Like, I'm just, it has nothing to do with DWE. They're all phenomenal. It hasn't been anything that was said through that company, but I'm not supporting that particular company. I will never give them credit. Like I said, I in the past have always given them their flowers, but I will never do so moving forward. If anybody posts their shit in my chat, they're gone. I'll give one warning and then that's it. I'm not dealing with it. I'm one of the most consistent content creators in this bit, on top of the people I've already named. And that's not by that I'm made to do that. DWE's given me a lot of work flexibility. Miami and them's great. You know, if I need to take a day off, they're cool with it. You know, I do plan to go to take a trip at some point in the summertime. For maybe 4 or 5 days where I won't be here. I don't know when yet, but you know, it's nice to be able to work for a company where you have that flexibility on your schedule and stuff like that. So, you know, it just really makes me mad to see people talking. You know, 8 months ago, I could. People that know my story, like Miami and Stampede and Chris Branson and Lady Alpha and Michael from Kicking Out at 2, all, all those people know my true story. So for people to assume that I'm paying fucking money for information, like that's asinine. I'm not gonna do that. I don't. I don't have that kind of fucking money to waste on stuff that could or could not be true. So let's just put 2 and 2 together there. But I did tell Stampede, you're funny as fuck. I sent you a message. Stampede, by the way, before I get into this, your fucking profile picture on my GC chat looks like and this isn't funny, but your profile picture looks like Saul Ruka's profile picture on X. Like I'll find a way to try to screenshot it to you. But like your whole picture's like black the fuck out. Which is very. I was like, what the fuck? Like, did he get hacked or what? But I did send you a DM. I am one person short for the United American Bash and AEW Forbidden Door PLE coming up Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. The prediction show. So if you guys know of anyone, let's try to fill it up. But I'm gonna do it differently since I had to cancel last minute yesterday for Father's Day. I don't have an hour to do this as I have to cover the Raw recap, but I will try to speed through these questions as much as I can. I know Fanatic always comes in with a lot of questions, but I just want to tell Fanatic, Stampede, Yankees Girl, Raymond, all the people that show up every single week. Fanatic is definitely my biggest fan. He comes with hundreds of questions every Sunday. And it's not about the questions. I don't care. But he takes the time to like write these questions down. So that makes me feel good that he actually cares about my product and what I have to say. So thank you guys for that. And I'm sorry about the rant, but I've been pissed the fuck off. Hey, Yankees Girl. I've been pissed off about it. Like I don't know what's wrong with people. A jealousy, I guess. I don't know, but I will not be supporting that company moving forward. I will give one warning in the chat. I've told Fanatic, I can't tell him what to do, but if he wants to support that guy and that company, that's on him. But if he is, then he needs to not support me. I don't play about that shit. So let his ass say what he wants. I got news before him today twice. And then he went into a scrambling mode on Twitter trying to post shit that just don't even matter. So, all right. So let's get into it. But I will say all that information that was said about me is absolutely false. I do not pay for information. I never have. I never will. I have more important shit to spend my money on than fucking wrestling scoops. That the success rate's probably about 70%. So there's that. All right. So we're gonna get to the question first, and we will get through that, and then I will give you guys the Raw recap from today as we are on the road to United Champions. So first question is from Fanatic. How are you doing? When can I add the questions when it's time? Yes, you can go ahead and add the questions. Could Natty stay on NXT as a part of the NXT roster for a while, helping Carmen and Nikita as they form a group? Yes. they Natty, Nikita, and Carmen, which I know we've seen Carmen in AAA. She's gonna float back and forth between Evolve, AAA, and NXT. The Natty Jada Parker feud is far from over. Natty's going to do a phenomenal job of doing what she does, and that working with the younger talent, getting them over. But yes, you're definitely going to see a lot more Natty in NXT. Shout out to Kyle the Man Anthony. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Your thoughts on Raw? If you guys have any thoughts on Raw, please leave them in the comments. And if you are watching live, please hit that like button. If we can, guys, let's please try to do it better at hitting that like button. YouTube thinks we suck because we're not getting any likes on the stream. So let's see if we can do a little bit better on these likes on these streams. So hit that like button. You guys make sure to tune in to the Queens of DWE Wednesday at 8 p.m., which will be following my AEW Forbidden Door Night of Champions and Great American Bash prediction show coming up Wednesday, as I will be a guest as well on Kyle's second episode of Queens of DWE Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So come tune in and watch us talk about the lovely ladies of WWE and NXT. Because Solo's distraction and obsession with Roman's bloodline caused the Tongans to turn on Solo. That could be a swerve and or pivot. The Tongans were very pissed. I saw their body language. I think that's going to be something that's like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't personally think it's going to be a turn because we're headed for a War Games. You seen what Solo did to Jimmy today on Raw. We're headed for War Games, or a Bloodline Civil War, so to speak. I think that Solo, and I do think that Solo and Talatonga and Tamatonga are going to figure out they're going to need somebody else, whether it's a Royce Keys or whether LA Knight turns heel and helps them. Those are all possibilities. I don't think that they're going to turn on Solo, even though it does look like that. Is Black Monroe having visa problems? No, she's not. Or are they waiting for the London to debut? Also, Blake is calling out the entire women's division. I don't believe it's a visa problem with Blake. I think it's just a creative thing. Ultimately, she's become the Veer Mahan of the women's division. I know she's called out Rhea, Charlotte, Tiffany, and now Julia. I would expect to see her in a major storyline for Tiffany, because Tiffany's not dropping the title at Night of Champions. The only thing I can see coming from that is maybe if Rhea's going to be out at SummerSlam, they possibly could run the Charlotte Jade for the vacated WWE SmackDown Championship, which is a possibility. Nothing's X in stone because we don't know the length of Rhea's absence. So, if she doesn't debut in London, I'll be really surprised. Could the NXT Tag Team title match be added to the Great American Bash on Tuesday or held off for the NXT after? It's going to be after. It's not. So we have the 3 men's matches, and we have Kendall and Lola. Ren Sinclair is going to defend there. More than likely, either Ariana Grace or Izzy Dame. I think it's probably going to be Izzy Dame. We'll see. The Birthright's got the numbers, so it'd be interesting to see how they do that. And then I'd still believe we're going to see Tatum Paxley and Zarya at Great American Bash. I think both of them will be made official Tuesday. The NXT Tag Team Championships won't be defended at the Bash. Will Kalani Jordan cause chaos in the contract signing, leading to a triple threat? I thought that, but they've already kind of made the poster. I mean, I guess they could remake it. I don't think so. Now, will she get involved in the match? There's a possibility. But I still ultimately think Kendall Gray wins the title. Lawler's due to come up soon to the SmackDown roster with Damian. So I do think Lola drops the title at Great American Bash. And then Kendall still has that outgoing feud with Kalani Jordan. Could Hiromu Takahashi and Nikki Blackheart debut at the Bash? I don't think Blackheart is going to debut at the Bash. She's coming soon. But I've heard rumblings of Hiromu and Oka. I haven't heard anything about Sasaki, but I have heard rumblings of Hiromu. I don't know if it happens at the Bash, but I do believe that Naraka is leaving Great American Bash that title. But he's Naraka said Eagle is coming, so Hiromu is a really, really high option on that. Do you think Finn is going to have to work to regain Damian's trust because Damian has forgotten about what Finn did to him at SummerSlam 24? So WWE creative sucks in a lot of aspects because they have put they've taken Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day vortex on Raw and put him right back in it on SmackDown. So I don't think they have anything creatively for Finn, which sucks. So I can see him, I don't know, maybe down the line, US title. I don't see a picture where Finn Balor wins the world title again. The roster is too stacked. So yeah, he's back in the same vortex. So it's wow. Are you excited that the women's US title is finally being defended on PLE? I am. Long time coming. A year and a half, the US title's been on the scene with no title defenses on a PLE. But truthfully, that's only due to Rhea's injury, though, which sucks. Could we see the Zack Ryder persona come back? You could, especially if Cardona is locked up with Danhausen. So could Bronson Reed return to Night of Champions? No. We will not see Bronson Reed at the Night of Champions. But he's coming. It's not long now. I don't want to say no as in it can't happen, but highly unlikely is the best word I can use for that. Could Matt Cardona and Danhausen team up against Los Garza? They could. You could see Matt Cardona and Danhausen possibly win the tag title at some point. There are 6 matches confirmed for Night of Champions. Could a 7th match be added? No. There will not be a 7th match added for Night of Champions. I can guarantee you that that's not going to happen. Could Shiloh Hill cause Tristan Angels on Tuesday? I think it's a very good possibility because they are not done with their feud by any means necessary. How do you think the CW will handle its first NXT PLE? I mean, it's the first time a PLE will be on broadcast. I think it's going to be great. I think it's great for the CW network, and I look forward to it. I think they'll handle it fine. Will Tiffany Stratton and Chad Gable have big plans for SummerSlam because it's in Minneapolis? Yes, both of them. I expect Tiffany and Blake in Minnesota for the U.S. title, and I expect Chad and Penta for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. Will the War Raiders dethrone Priest and Treat for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships? I believe that they will. I do believe that they will. Will Charlotte and Chelsea help Tiffany retain? And will they cost Jade the U.S. title, leading to a Charlotte Jade non-title match at SummerSlam? Yes. Yes. We're going to see Charlotte and Chelsea, I believe. Definitely Charlotte, and Chelsea's close with Tiffany, so that makes the most sense. Charlotte Jade will be non-title, but it could have the ramifications if Rhea has to vacate for whoever wins gets the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's an angle they could play with it. But I don't know because I don't know if Rhea's going to miss or not. Will Stephanie return to cost Liv and Nia champions despite the Judgment Day likely being involved, leading to a title match at Saturday Night's main event at Madison Square Garden? That's a possibility. Stephanie's situation is very sticky. If we don't see her for some crazy reason, I think we're going to get Stephanie, Liv, and Io in a triple threat at SummerSlam. That's the way that I think that they're going with the Stephanie, Liv, and Io for the Raw Women's Championship. Now she could have a match with Liv. They're going to want big matches, big stars on the Saturday Night's main event in New York. So, but I do ultimately think we end up with a triple threat at SummerSlam between Stephanie, Io, and Liv. Could Roxanne turn on Liv on Saturday? Liv ignored her. Liv has been selfish recently. I've been seeing the hints. Raquel might too. She didn't like how Liv told her to go to the IC title. She could, but I think this is going to be a storyline that plays out for a little bit longer. I do not see Liv Morgan dropping the title at SummerSlam because I think that I believe that Roxanne Perez is going to win the Money in the Bank. So the WWE planning to go all out for Saturday night. Big time matches like 5 to 6. You'll at least see 5, and yes, they are definitely going to go all out. But I don't know if we're going to get the Romans or the Codys or anything like that. But we'll get some big matches there for sure. It's the Garden. Could Netflix acquire WWE SmackDown in the United States in a few years after airing it internationally? I mean, I don't want to say no because it's possible. I don't think so. USA's got a pretty good deal working. 6 months out of the year, the 3 hours. We have one more SmackDown coming up Friday, the last 3 hour SmackDown. Friday will be the last SmackDown until January. Last 3 hour SmackDown until January. Is Punk turning heel when he returns, or are we getting a rare face versus face? There's been talks of having Punk go heel. I don't think we're going to get a face versus face match. I don't. Did you hear those CM Punk chants at Raw? I did. Is Thea Hell likely moving over to Evolve? Thea Hell is moving over to Evolve. She is. Can we see some stars who have no creative in WWE appear in AAA or NXT? Yes. Damian Priest was that WWE champion that Rey Mysterio is talking about that is going to be having some action over in AAA. Could Tessa Blanchard show up in WWE? No. Nope. We're not going to see Tessa in WWE, unfortunately. Could Dominic be revealed as the leader of Los Perros Del Mal, and could he leave Judgment Day? I don't know about the leader, but I do think he could play some sort of instrumental role because he is facing El Grande Americano at Triple Mania, where he will drop the title to El Grande Americano. So, like I said, I don't know what kind of role he plays, but he definitely could be involved in some sense. But I don't know about the leader. Also, with Bronco and AAA, what does this mean for OTM? Will they still be together when the tag titles, or will Bronco split between AAA? It seems right now that he is going to split between AAA and NXT. As far as the tag titles goes, I think that may put a little bit of a damper, but maybe not, because they could always bring those tag titles over to AAA because we do see Lola Vice is defending the women's NXT championship in the main event over there. So I wouldn't think that that's going to deter them from going after the NXT tag titles and perhaps defending them, because you see the War Raiders are over on SmackDown and they're AAA champions as well. So are you excited for those Scars to getting a big opportunity? And have they officially moved from SmackDown to AAA, or are they splitting? I think you're going to see a lot more of Los Scars in AAA because there's just nothing for them to do on SmackDown roster. Could WWE AAA target CML and New Japan Pro Wrestling? I mean, yeah, they could. Is WWE interested in ELP? Not that I've been told. Are you intrigued that Carmen is part of two factions, one in NXT, one in AAA, and she's also involved too? Will she finally win a title this year? If so, which title will it be? The women's North American title or women's speed title? I would say it'd probably be a speed title or some sort of AAA title. I don't know if she wins the North American title this year. Are you surprised that Daga is now in AAA? I love that. I'm not surprised. Stampede says that ELP is under contract to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, as I said, thank you, Stampede. As I said, they're not going to. WWE doesn't have any interest in them. True, just asking. So this is a great question. Something I was going to talk about yesterday on Scoops. Could Ren Sinclair turn on Kendall? I 100% believe that is happening. I 100% believe that is going to eventually happen. Especially with the Kalanis and the Tatums and some of these other ones that's going to go up. They're definitely telling the story of it. I don't think it's an immediate turn, but I do eventually see Ren turning on Kendall once Kendall wins the title 100%. Because Kendall's not turning. Could AAA expand to 2 hours soon because of popularity? They could. They could. What's next for the Creed brothers and Ivy now? Don't know. Last time I saw Ivy now was on the main event. Hopefully they can get some work over in AAA. Could Josh Briggs go to Evolve, or does he have any plans? I've not heard any plans for Josh Briggs. He is a talent, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Josh Briggs do some work in AAA. I haven't been confirmed that, but he's too talented, so we'll see. What's next for Jada Parker? She is on a spiral. Finishing up her feud with Natty is what's next for Jada. Stampede says EVP reporting is very much Stampede approved. I appreciate that, Stampede. Like I said, there's not many in the community that I have more respect for. You're a fantastic guy. I know we had our differences when, I was associated with that other news source. But I proved to you through DMs and stuff that I put in my chat that my success rate is a lot higher than some of the people that does work on the internet, and I do it for free. So I definitely appreciate that, and I know that deep down that I don't paper news. So, but yeah, I appreciate your support. So, shout out to Stampede. Could you see Cena from Stardom sign on with WWE after we saw yesterday with Dago return to play? Because Thought she was going to AEW. Anything's possible. WWE has their hands all up in AAA. Could we see Trick versus Melo versus Ricky in a triple threat match for the U.S. title at SummerSlam? I do believe that is the direction they are going. Trick versus Melo versus Ricky in a triple threat match at SummerSlam. Will Tatum get her rematch at Great American Bash? Yes, she should. If she don't, I'll be really surprised. That should be her going away match. Will the Great American Bash be the swan song for Tatum and Kalani? If she's added to the NXT Women's title match and Lola, I believe it'll just be Tatum and Lola. I believe Kalani will be around a little bit longer to feud with Kendall Gray. Could the Bash also be Tony D's NXT farewell if he loses? I don't know about farewell, but he's not getting it shouldn't be too much longer for Tony D. Is Kendall Gray preparing Kurt Angle inspired gear for the Great American Bash? She is. She is. AAA is set to beef up the women's division by signing Indian international stars from AEW, Stardom, CML, Rev Pro, TNA, and more because they cannot rely on the main roster WWE women. Yes, they've made it well known that they're actively looking for talent to come over to AAA. What's going on, Yankees girl? Good to see you. Questions, please put them in the comment. So, I see Danhausen. Oh, my internet freezing, guys. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can switch over really quick, guys. I apologize. Swap off. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys. How to switch over the internet. Where were we? Yankees girl. Good to see you. Could we see Danhausen interact with Johnny Gargano? Is it possible to return to Johnny Wrestling after he touches? I think that's a great idea to get him off that the crate. I do. Could Los Perros de la Mall be the ones that attacked Psycho Circus? Could. I don't know. I just started watching AAA, so will there be a July PLE and could it be Evolution? I've heard rumblings of Evolution, but I've also heard of WrestlePalooza, so we'll see what they do with that. WrestlePalooza is going to be in September. They could spring the Evolution in July. They don't have anything else but Saturday Night's main event, and TKO. Will WrestlePalooza return this year? Will it be September? I believe so. Yeah. Could we see the old Jordan Devlin return after that Danhausen execution? Because now Miz, Kit, Zach have electrocuted and seemingly back to their old selves. Yeah, you could. Possibly. Do you like how the storytelling for Chad Gable is happening? I love it. And I did say on the last scoops that because one of the questions you asked me was, will the Apple Academy accept Chad Gable's apology? And I said, Tozawa and Otis may, but Maxine will not. And that's exactly what happened on Raw tonight. Where's Paul Heyman been? He is working a written off program as he was speared by Braun Breaker. So I would expect to see him back soon. These stars take breaks at the end of the day, guys. These stars take breaks. Once again, if you are watching live on YouTube, on X, or on DWE Television X page, make sure that you hit that like button on the stream, guys. Let's try to get up to at least 10 likes on this stream. Do you think now with the Profits winning the titles back, the tag division across WWE can start slowly healing? It's going to take a long, long time. Yeah, I don't know, man. SmackDown, I mean, Weapon Up has been defending, but I believe the tag division is in big trouble. Could Overrush Roman actually happen if they pivot? Why? I can only see it happen if Roman is willing to pass the torch to the next generation. We cannot see Roman. So let's talk about this, and I don't care how long this stream goes. I'll do the Raw recap afterwards. Roman Reigns is not when he comes. So there was a lot of contract disputes or a lot of contract talks about Roman Reigns up to WrestleMania before he won the title from CM Punk. So TKO did step in, had Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns signed a new deal. I believe 3 years, something like that. I don't have the specifics on contracts and stuff like that, but part of his new deal was working more dates. So TKO has Ari Emanuel on the board, has Dwayne Johnson on the board, and Ari Emanuel represents Dwayne Johnson, and they love the bloodline. Roman Reigns is not dropping the WWE Raw World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. It's not happening. It's no chance. It's not. Cody's gonna drop the title, win the title, drop the title. I don't even know if Cody goes into SummerSlam as a champion. I don't. I think there's a small chance they pull the trigger on Sammy. I'm not gonna say that's happening, but if one title had an opportunity to be changed, it's going to be Cody's title because he is bland, he is boring. And Sammy is his character is there. Very compelling character he's playing. Very interesting. Saudi Arabia loves Sami Zayn. I could see it. I would not be surprised if Sammy walks out of Saudi Arabia with the Undisputed Championship, especially if Jay's going to win the King of the Ring. Roman Reigns is not dropping the title at SummerSlam. So if Oba wins, he's not winning the title at SummerSlam. So will WWE hire us be watching AEW Forbidden Door this weekend? They watch everything, Fanatic. I've told you this 100 times. They might be looking at New Japan, Stardom, and CML talent that they don't have dual contract. They could, but their eyes will be on AEW. Do you like the payout to the Seth Street Profit story? I do. I think it was a great story. This actually built week to week progression and didn't overstay its welcome either. More of that, please. Yes, I enjoyed this story. Very much so. How will America May confront Chad? That is interesting to be seen on that. I don't know, but I love what Chad's doing. I love what they're doing with Chad. Let's see, just 1 second, guys. I'm getting to some questions. I have a question on it. Stampede. I got a couple questions on through DM. All right. So let's get to the rest of these questions so I can get to the Raw recap. Did you like how they executed the Lyra Hill turn? It happened in the UK. Yeah, I did. I reported it on the 19th that she was turning heel on Raw after, and I even included the details after they lost to Bailey and Paige. I mean, Paige and Brie. I do. I do. Lyra didn't forget about what Bailey did to her at SummerSlam last year, and that's good storytelling. Now it's coming back to haunt Bailey. I agree. I'm looking forward to see what they do with Lyra as a heel. And it makes perfect sense because there's not many heels besides Judgment Day, and it makes a lot of sense because Sol Ruka has absolutely no one credible heel wise. So look for a lot of Sol Ruka and Lyra. They've been working together a lot in house shows, stuff like that. So I think Maxine and Sol Ruka are going to be two people that you got to watch out for Sol Ruka's Intercontinental Championship. Do you think the currently Chad Gable storyline is a great example of long-term storytelling? I think it's headed that way, but it remains to be seen. If WWE is known to fumble the bag, but if they fumble the bag on Chad, I would be disappointed. Could Fab and Meechin go after the women's tag titles? They could. They are in the mix. Could you see Chad Gable try to apologize to Sami Zayn because Chad attacked Sami in Montreal in 2024, which led to a spiral? I believe Chad's going to try to right all of his wrongs. Also, Lyra turned on Bailey the same way Becky turned on Lyra. Wonder if they're doing a heel Becky Lyra protege angle where Lyra realized it seemed like it because Becky put some stuff out on X about it. So I could see Becky and Lyra teaming up. Yep, I could. Is the plan as of right now still Io winning on Saturday? Yes. Yes, the plan is still for Io to win. They're not going to have Liv Morgan win both titles or go after the other title. It's not, no. No. Io's going to win. Stampede said, at Michael, those talents from Stardom, AEW, CMLL, Rev Pro TNA, and others would have to either have their contracts coming up or be working as freelancers. There you go, Stampede. Stampede telling you there, Fanatic. And that guy knows way more than I do about wrestling promotions. So Stampede's the guy to go to about stuff like outside of WWE promotion or NXT, some TNA. Stampede's the guy to go to. When football season starts, especially college football, will ESPN put a pause on simulcasting the first hour PLE to complement ESPN football coverage? That's tough to tell. They could. I don't know. Because Zilla Pie 2 helped Solo. I do believe Zilla gets involved in this story at some point, but I don't think it's imminently. But we are going to see Zilla at some point. So Stampede says, Michael, a dual contract will have no bearing. One contract will suffice, and everyone on the card are contracted talent. There you go. Like I said, Stampede's the guy. I might have to bring Stampede on for scoops to help me answer some of these questions, especially when it's not in relevance to the stuff that I get information on. Thank you, Stampede. Michael Zilla is still working House of Glory dates. He holds 3 separate titles. That's correct. As I said, I don't expect the Zillify 2 return to be imminently. I think late fall, early winter would be the earliest. After Julia done with Kiana, what's next for both of them? Kiana James is going to get a bigger push than Julia. Kiana's a homegrown talent. Expect for Kiana to get a super huge push. Well, I don't know about super huge, but she can win the U.S. title. So is Sheamus close to returning? Same for Kevin Owens. They are getting closer. They are. This is a $1 million question. When is Dragunov coming back? I do not know. That could be one of the people that's involved in the visa issues. So hopefully soon. I love Dragunov. Tessa is going with CMLL. Yes, she will never wrestle for WWE. Even though I would love to have seen Tessa Blanchard, the daughter of Tully Blanchard, go against the daughter of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair. I would have killed to see. Not, well, let me rephrase that. YouTube will strike me. I would have loved to see Tessa Blanchard and Charlotte Flair 1-on-1. Lord have mercy, y'all. If you're coming in new, not new, but if you're coming in to the stream, this is the Raw Recap / Sunday Night Scoops. Make sure you hit that like button on the stream, guys. Let's try to help me get to 10 likes on this show. How will American Made react to Gable's apology tour? They're probably not going to like it, truthfully. Last thing, could Roman versus LA Knight for the world title happen at MSG? So I had a couple of people ask me that. Roman's working Fanatics Fest over in New York. I mean, it's a possible. I don't want to say no, but I just don't see Roman Reigns working an Saturday Night's Main Event. Could it? Yes, but me personally, I don't think it's going to happen. Does WWE have plans for Sol Ruka to defend the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship in the future at AAA? I do believe that is a very strong possibility that could happen. AAA in the future. What do you think of Rey Fenix as a championship? I love it. I do believe that they didn't have anything for him to do on the main roster, so him winning that AAA championship, now he can defend it on that SmackDown roster, so it gives him something to do. Thank you, Bobby, for liking the video on the YouTube. Good to see you as always. Could the Bayley Lyra feud be amazing and help elevate Lyra? Yes. Does WWE need to have a balance of faces and heels? 100%. Last thing, could Roman versus LA Knight for the world title happen at MSG? Unlikely, but could. Question from Bobby. Your thoughts on WWE LFT Xena Sterling going to Reality of Wrestling for a match? Yes, I think that's a possibility, and I would love it. I love Xena. I've covered her 3 seasons on LFG. I know she's on Evolve. I know her boyfriend Elijah just got called up to Evolve, Elijah Holyfield. So I would love to see that. Could you see one from Bobby again? Could you see one of wrestler from WWE LFT season 3 beating Aaron Rourke for the WWE Evolve Men's Championship? I think it could be Elijah Holyfield. I do. I do. I think it could be Elijah. Could Julia move to Raw? I think when she's done with Kiana, I do think we end up seeing Julia get that fresh coat of paint to Raw. I do. As always, I'd like to see Rey Fenix versus Angel or Berto. I'm sure you will see it on AAA, Bobby. All right, guys. So shout out to all you guys. This is actually the Monday Night Raw recap show. I didn't get to do the Sunday Night Scoop or LFG yesterday. It was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone that's a father. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But shout out to everyone that tuned in. So Sunday Night Scoops will not be back until the first Sunday of July. Next Sunday, I won't be doing a show. I will be covering NXT Great American Bash recap. So set that reminder and come join me the Sunday after Great American Bash as we will pick back up on Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. So thank you guys. Thank you to Fanatic for stopping by. I know he had a lot of questions. Let's see. And make sure you guys tune in Wednesday for the triple header PLE prediction show. Fanatic, forgot that. Will Io win a title by the end of the year for Fanatic? Yes, she will. Could Dominic be? Sorry, I don't know why I'm. Okay, I gotta get my. I'm not used to doing scoops on Monday. So thank you to Stampede. As always, I sent you a DM. I'm looking for one person to fill the last spot for the prediction show. So if you could help reach out, if you don't mind, try to find me one more person. Stampede says EVP's reporting is very much Stampede approved. Thank you so much, Stampede. I appreciate your support. And shout out to Yankees Girl. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we have a lot of comments. And also, shout out to Bobby. Yes, I believe EO will win a title for the end of the year. Great show. Thank you. This isn't the whole show, Bobby. I'm about to go over Monday Night Raw. I missed Sunday Night Scoops yesterday, so I wanted to give everybody an opportunity that comes in to watch Sunday Night Scoops that wasn't able to come in yesterday, to give them a chance to ask their questions before Night of the Champions and Great American Bash. We will pick back up with Sunday Night Scoops and LFG the first Sunday in July. So thank you guys for coming in for Scoops. We are going to transition in over to the Raw recap. It is the go home show for WWE Raw. Monday, June 22nd, 2026, as we are 5 days away from WWE United Champions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Quickly, we'll run over the match card for the United Champions PLE in Saudi Arabia. Cody Rhodes, the Undisputed Champion, will defend against Sami Zayn and Gunther in a triple threat match. Tiffany Stratton will defend the United States title against Jade Cargill. Trick Williams will defend the United States Championship against Ricky Saints. Seth Rollins versus Brian Breaker one-on-one in a steel cage match. And then we have the Queen of the Ring finals. Io Sky goes one-on-one with the WWE Women's Raw Champion, Liv Morgan, and the King of the Ring, the ruler of Femi, goes one-on-one with Jason Yeaterman, the Yeet Man, Jey Uso, and that is your card for Night of Champions. So let's get to the Raw recap, guys. This is the go home Raw before WWE Night of Champions. So WWE's Raw was at live 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Netflix from the O2 Arena in London, England. We're going to see the WWE Women's Raw, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Also, the WWE World Tag Team Champions Division, Brian Breaker and Austin Theory, will defend their titles against the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, plus WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Paige and WWE Hall of Famer Brie Bella will defend their titles against Bayley and Laura Valkyria. Also, we're going to get Dragon Lee versus All Ego Ethan Page. We'll hear from the ruler over Femi. The Bloodlines main event Jey Uso. Also, we'll hear from Liv Morgan and Io Sky. Chad Gable will also appear after requesting time from Raw General Manager Adam Pearce. Show up with a video package hyping up the Night of Champions. Everything that's going to go down at the Night of Champions. Michael Caldwell Barrett, then welcomes to Raw. We see the pre-show arrivals of the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Io Sky Page. Stampede says Julia should move to Stardom. I agree. I don't think anything good is going to happen unfortunately for Julia and WWE. So then we start the show with one of the finalists in the Men's King of the Ring. It is the ruler, Oba Femi, to a huge pop from the fans. He makes his way down to the ring. He gets on the microphone and he starts off by saying the WWE Universe is wonderful here tonight in London. Opemi then says, as much as he would love the fans to chant his name all night, WWE Universe doesn't even let Oba speak. You can't hear anything in that arena and on TV. Opemi then says his destiny is on his side and it will take him to new heights when he beats Jey Uso to become the king of the ring at Night of Champions. Opemi then says he is facing a dilemma. Opemi then asked the WWE Universe if they want him to go after the undisputed WWE champion, and the crowd boos. And it's a very low-pitched boo. Or do you want him to go after the World Heavyweight Championship? And the crowd erupts. They want Oba to go after Roman Reigns. So then Opemi is interrupted by his opponent coming up Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, live from Saudi Arabia in the King of the Ring finals. It is main event Jey Uso. He makes his way down to the ring through the crowd. Jey Uso continues to yeet with the WWE Universe while Opemi stares at him. And then it sounds like London wants for Jey to run it back. Oba started to cut him off before he ran it back. But Jey ended up running it back anyway. Jey doesn't listen to Oba and he runs it back. Uso then tells Oba not to count him out. Jey absolutely looked like he was completely out of breath, by the way. Jey Uso then says they counted him out when he won the Royal Rumble and the World Heavyweight Championship. Uso then the OG Unk, Jey Uso is what I call him. Uso then says they are counting him out because they can't think that he can beat Opemi. Jey Uso then says he promises to silence the haters. Uso then says he vows to climb this mountain at Night of Champions and then take on Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. So are they giving away the triple threat with Cody and Sammy and Gunther? Sounds like it. Jey Uso then says he wants to become the undisputed WWE champion. Jey Uso then tells Opemi, this is your warning shot. Pow. Opemi then says he sees that this is his warning shot, huh? He then says at Night of Champions, you are going to be shooting for real. He then says if you shoot, don't miss because he will destroy you. He then says even if you don't, he will still destroy you. He then says you are not the family member he is worried about. Opemi then tells Jey Uso to take his bullets to his cousin Roman Reigns as a message for him. What a very interesting promo from the ruler, Opemi. There was no mention of Brock Lesnar in this promo. This entire promo was centered around him winning the King of the Ring. And to me, personally, I don't see a world where Opemi picks Cody Rhodes. The promo was just very... The crowd doesn't even want Oba to pick Cody. Look, everybody wants to see Opemi and Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, like I tell everybody, Roman's not dropping the title at SummerSlam, so I don't know if that's the right call unless Brock calls Oba at SummerSlam. I don't know. WWE has been really under the vest with that stuff. But Opemi will not beat Roman Reigns for the title. What I possibly could think could happen if Oba does win King of the Ring is somehow Brock Lesnar cost him. And then on down the line, maybe I don't know, September, October, maybe even November. I don't know. Ova beats Brock. Ova wins the Royal Rumble, and he goes on because I don't think we're getting. I don't know, but I don't. Me personally, I don't think we're getting Rock Roman, and Saudi, and have Ova win the Rumble, and then he beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So then we take a look at the night Eric Andre took the Olafala from Jacob Fatu and got absolutely destroyed. Also, that was something I was going to talk about on Scoops. This won't be the last that we hear from Eric Andre. I know a lot of people just talked about the movie that he did with John Cena. Eric Andre is also in the movie with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns that will be out in October, which is Street Fighter. So, will that play any type of role in October with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? I don't know. Could. So we see Adam Pearce talking to someone on the phone. The megastar LA Knight walks up to him and asks, "Who are you talking to?" LA Knight then says, "Oh, it's probably Roman Reigns or Jacob Fatu." Adam Pearce then asks LA, "What is wrong with you?" LA Knight then says, "The bloodline must have gotten Adam's compromising photos because he is not doing anything." Adam Pearson says Jacob Fatu has paid the fine. Jimmy Uso walks up to LA Knight and he says he has had his back last week, but he hit him in the back with a steel chair. The two get into an argument. LA Knight then tells Adam Pearce to shut up. Adam Pearce books the match between LA Knight and Jey Uso. LA Knight tells Adam Pearce he's not listening to him. And he's like, "Well, how about me and Jimmy Uso tonight?" And Jimmy Uso agrees. And LA Knight looks at Adam Pearce and is like, "Well, what do you think?" And he's like, "Well, I've already kind of booked this, but okay." So, yeah, we're getting LA Knight and Jimmy Uso tonight. So, we got the first matchup of the night. It is for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Paige and Brie Bella will defend the Tag Team Championships against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Paige is from London. Huge ovation for Paige. Brie Bella make their way down to the ring. Then we head to the back with Jackie Redmond, and she's with Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Valkyria said it didn't happen at WrestleMania because their moment was supposed to happen tonight in London. Bayley then calls them the best tag team in the division. Bayley says she appreciates that Lyra got themselves the tag team shot and says it is all or nothing tonight. Bayley and Lyra then make their way down to the ring for the first match of Raw. Will WWE be in Pakistan, Afghanistan, or North Korea? I don't know, man. I don't. Hopefully. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, Paige and Brie Bella versus Bayley and Lyra. All four ladies in the ring. The match starts off with Lyra hitting a kick to Paige. Lyra then corners Paige and tags in Bayley. Bayley hits a running elbow and Paige slaps Bayley across the face. Brie Bella is now the legal woman and she hits a code breaker to Bayley. Brie then hits a running bulldog and Lyra breaks the fall. Before I go any further, Brian Danielson has been training Brie Bella. Trained her up until when she came back, and he's also working with Nikki as well. And as much as I like Nikki personally, but Brie Bella, her style, like her wrestling has gotten better for me. Bella then hits a running bulldog. Lyra breaks the fall. Paige enters the fray, but Lyra sends her on the apron. Paige then hits her with a series of knee strikes. Bayley then hits the yes kicks, copying Brian Danielson. Bayley then hits a back suplex. It hits Brie Bella with a suplex, but Paige breaks the fall. Lyra then takes Paige to the outside of the ring. Bayley and Lyra then continue to beat down on Brie. Lyra Valkyria then hits the sunset flip, goes for a pin, but count of 2. Brie Bella then runs into a clothesline, and Bayley is now the legal woman. Bayley then targets Bella's midsection and tags Lyra Valkyria in. She then hits a snap suplex on Brie Bella for a near fall. Brie Bella then tries to fight back with the yes kicks, but Bayley runs into Paige, sending her outside the ring. Brie Bella then hits a mystical dropkick to Bayley. Paige then comes in and she clotheslines both women. Paige then hits a series of German suplexes. Paige then hits Bayley with a fisherman suplex and she super kicks Lyra. Lyra then hits Paige with the Nightwing, but Brie Bella breaks up the count. Bayley then brings the fight to Brie, but her neck crashed down across the side of the apron. Brie then hits a running knee to Bayley. Lyra slides through the ropes, taking out Brie Bella. Back in the ring, Lyra hits Paige with a fisherman suplex. Lyra then goes for a Nightwing, but Paige turns it into a Rampage for the 1, 2, 3. And the winners, and still your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Paige in her home country of London, and WWE Hall of Famer Brie Bella, which I've talked about for a month at least on Scoops, that Paige and Brie Bella would not drop the titles until they lost the titles to Fallon Henley and Laney Reed. That will be the two that will be winning those tag titles off Paige and Brie. The winners and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Paige and WWE Hall of Famer Brie Bella. After the match, Bayley shows frustration over losing the bout while Lyra is down on the mat. Bayley then tries to lift Lyra's spirits after the loss. Bayley picks Lyra up and hugs her. Lyra turns heel and sends Bayley throat first into the ropes and begins to punch Bayley. Lyra then sends Bayley throat first into the ropes. Officials then come down to try to calm Valkyria down. Valkyria then picks Bayley up and hits her with the Nightwing before walking off. So we have seen a heel turn from Lyra Valkyria. The WWE problem is that they don't have a Brett Stone Cold moment. Ken Shamrock, what is missing? Triple H is a stooge. Creative talent because the product is lame because of TKO. TKO is not good. We then see Lyra Valkyria walking in the back, and Jackie Redmond wants to know what happened. Lyra walks straight past Jackie Redmond and refuses to answer. She does not want to talk. So then we get the music of Chad Gable. He makes his way down to the ring. Fans are going crazy. Chad Gable starts off by saying he loves the energy and he is here for something serious tonight. Chad Gable then says he has had one hell of a month. Chad Gable then says it started when he lost his mask in Mexico. Gable then says after that match, he realized the mask wasn't all he lost over the last year. Chad Gable then says he lost respect, dignity, and his friends. Chad Gable then says Rey Mysterio told him it is never too late to right wrongs. Chad Gable then says he wants to bring out some people to the ring. Chad Gable then asks for Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree to come out to the ring. And out comes the Alpha Academy. Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine make their way down to the ring. Chad Gable then thanks them for coming out. Chad Gable then says Maxine Dupree always had the potential and was hungry to learn. Chad Gable then says Maxine Dupree did something that he was never able to do, and that is win a singles title. Chad Gable then says the way he treated her was embarrassing, and it is his fault. Chad Gable then says he admits he tried to hold Akira Tozawa back, and Tozawa didn't deserve that treatment. Chad Gable then tells Otis that he is the most loyal friend that any human being could ever have. Chad Gable then says he misses Otis. Chad Gable then says he recalls Otis being there for his girls when they were born. He then says he threw it all away because he wanted the Intercontinental Championship more than his friendship with Otis. Chad Gable then says they don't owe him anything, but he owes them something. Chad then tells them that he is sorry. Otis then looks at Maxine. Otis looks at Maxine and Tozawa, and he offers Gable his hand. But then Maxine Dupree steps in front of him, takes the microphone, and she says, "There was a time where she believed every word that come out of your mouth, Chad." Then Maxine says, "Everything about you is a lie." Maxine then says, you want to, Dupree then says, you want to forgive him. Maxine then says, Otis and Tozawa have the biggest hearts, but she doesn't. Maxine then asks Gable if he remembers the time she stopped him from attacking Otis and Tozawa. Maxine then says, you left them to drown in the business while you sought your dreams. Maxine then says, it was always about you, Chad. Maxine then says, when she achieved his dreams, she realized they didn't need him. They didn't need them then, and they don't need him now. Maxine then says they are going to leave him alone. Tozawa then leaves the ring with Dupree. Otis stays in the ring, contemplating, but then he leaves the ring with Tozawa and Maxine. That was one hell of a promo by Maxine Dupree, by the way, which I kind of figured she wasn't going to accept his apology. So we then see Dragon Lee walking in the back. Rey Mysterio stops him. Rey Mysterio tells Dragon Lee to teach Ethan Page a lesson tonight. Penta then shows up, the Intercontinental Champion. He tells Dragon Lee it is his night. Ethan Page then says he has stated his goals for Raw. Ethan then says every step he takes, like cockroaches, some luchador comes after him. Ethan then says he stomps one out and another one shows up. Ethan then says now he has to deal with Rey Mysterio and his pet dragon. Ethan Page then says it is time for some extermination. Ethan Page then says Dragon Lee will be the first bug he squashes on his way to accomplish his goals. Ethan Page then says that is to be the standard of excellence on Raw and your new Intercontinental Champion. Ethan Page then makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night, and Dragon Lee follows. So next match of the night will be Dragon Lee going one-on-one with All Ego Ethan Page. Both men lock up. Dragon Lee hits a Hurricane Rana to Ethan Page, and he follows up with a drop kick. He then dives outside the ring to take out his opponent. Back in the ring, Dragon Lee runs into a clothesline. Ethan Page then hits an elbow drop and sends Dragon Lee on top of the turnbuckle. Both men exchange strikes in the middle of the ring. Ethan hits a thunderous forearm and hits a kick to the right of the wrist. He then follows it up with a kick right to the chest of Ethan Page. Dragon Lee hits a drop kick, goes for a pin, but he kicks out at 2. Dragon Lee then hits a kick. Ethan Page kicks Lee out of the ring. Fight spills to the outside. Ethan hits a series of chops. Back in the ring, Ethan Page applies a rear chin lock. Dragon Lee then tries to fight back, but Ethan Page puts him down and pounds away at him. Ethan Page then ties Dragon Lee's mask to the bottom of the ropes. He then follows it up with an elbow across Dragon Lee's neck. Ethan Page then applies a rear chin lock again. Dragon Lee then tries to fight back with a series of chops. Ethan Page then runs into a big boot. He then hits a German suplex and follows it up with a kick. Dragon Lee then hits Ethan Page with a tornado DDT for a near fall. Ethan Page then hits a kick to Dragon Lee for a near fall. Dragon Lee then hits Page with a kick. Both men are now up on the top rope. Dragon Lee hits a stomp to Ethan Page's chest. Dragon Lee runs into a forearm on the apron and sends Ethan Page over the announce desk. Dragon Lee launches himself over the top rope, sending Ethan Page into the barricade. Back into the ring, Dragon Lee hits Page with a running back elbow for a count of 2. Dragon Lee goes for a Styles Clash, but Ethan Page hits a low blow. Ethan Page then follows it up with his finisher for the 1, 2, 3. And the winner is All Ego Ethan Page. So we then take a look at the WWE World Tag Team Championship match with a video package with the Vision and the Street Profits. We see Jackie Redmond in the back with Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Brian Breakker. Austin Theory says Seth Rollins will be handled by Breakker on Saturday at Night of Champions. He then says they are building the future in WWE. He then says the Street Profits don't know sacrifice. Logan Paul then says he would beat the Street Profits over the head with it. He then says he is healing faster than anyone he has ever healed. He then says if he was a betting man, he would put his money on the, and he is a betting man, he said, he would put his money on the Vision. Brian Breaker then says Rollins won't be a problem. He then says they will handle their business tonight and retain the titles. He then says he will destroy Seth on Saturday at Night of Champions. So we then see Byron Saxton, and he is with Rusev. Rusev says he enjoyed Ethan Page's match tonight because there were no interferences from the Luchadors. Rusev then gets fired up with the WWE Universe. Rusev then calls out fans for cheering for Rey Mysterio instead of him. Rusev then calls Chad Gable fake and says he ran away to Mexico and says he's always been real. Rusev screams in Bulgarian and gyrates. So we get a promo from the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Sol Ruca, who I just want to say, guys, and I put this on Twitter, you guys got to chill with these wrestlers. Like, at the end of the day, like, Sol Ruca's made her profile private, taking her picture down. It's just getting really out of hand. Sol Ruca cuts a promo, and she says she is a thrill seeker. She says she is that way outside of the ring. She says she likes to challenge herself beyond her comfort zone. Sol Ruca then says she does not mind falling and embarrassing herself. Sol Ruca then says she will get back up and prove everyone wrong. It is then announced that the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring finals will air on ESPN on Saturday afternoon. So the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring finals will be the opening matches on at the Night of Champions. Interesting stuff. So Oba's going to be on the first hour. We then see Jackie Redmond in the ring as she brings out Io Sky. Jackie Redmond congratulates Io on making it to the finals of the Queen of the Ring. Io says she feels grateful to be here and she can face Liv Morgan for the crown. Io promises to beat Liv Morgan and become the Queen of the Ring. And then we get the WWE Women's Raw Champion. Liv Morgan comes out. She makes her way out to the ring. It says Io Sky must have forgotten. Who is she dealing with? Liv Morgan then calls herself the greatest women's world champion of all time. Liv Morgan then calls herself better and more talented than Io. Liv Morgan says she is the face of the division and all she is missing is her crown. Liv vows to be Rhea Ripley and take her women's championship at SummerSlam. Io Sky then asks if the crown will fit Morgan on her big head. Io Sky then speaks in Japanese. Liv Morgan then punches Io Sky and sends her to the apron. Io Sky then hits a kick to Morgan and a springboard drop kick. We then see Jimmy Uso in the back, and Jay Uso shows up and asks if he needs help with LA Knight. Jacob Fatu then shows up, and Jay wants to know where he has been. Jacob Fatu then says he doesn't answer to Jay. Jacob Fatu then says he is doing what Roman Reigns told him to do. Jimmy then asks how things went with Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu says all that matters is Solo got the message. Jacob then says they sit and they wait. Jay then says he wants to know what we are even waiting for. Jacob Fatu then says let Solo cross that line because he won't like what he finds. So Jacob, again, is only following orders from the OTC, creating more friction in this bloodline story between Roman handing the keys over to Jacob and Jay being jealous. That's why I do feel if Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring, I still have a funny feeling he possibly could challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. We then see Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. They want to know where their money is that Danhausen took. Danhausen says he used the money to buy some equipment. JD then says to give him back the $100,000 or he will take their stuff. Danhausen then curses JD. He cursed JD McDonough and Dominic. Says he is uncursable. JD then shocks them. JD shocks himself. I'm sorry. So Dominic and JD McDonough have been cursed. So LA Knight makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night, as he will be going one-on-one with Big Jim, Jimmy Uso. So the match starts off with Jimmy Uso and LA Knight trading strikes. Jimmy Uso then sends LA Knight to the outside. Jimmy Uso then launches himself off the apron, but LA Knight targets his midsection. Jimmy Uso then smashes LA Knight's face on the steel steps. LA Knight then smashes Jimmy Uso's face on the announce desk, and he gives him a taste of his own medicine. Back in the ring, LA Knight hits Uso with a neck breaker for a count of 2. LA Knight then runs into a big boot. Jimmy Uso then follows it up with a whisper in the wind for a count of 2. Jimmy then sends LA to the outside again. Then LA sends Jey Uso against the hardest part of the apron. Jimmy then sends LA Knight into the barricade, and then both men are back in the ring. LA tries to fight back with a series of chops. LA Knight then hits Jimmy Uso with another neck breaker for a count of 2. We have a really bad storm. This weather here, man, it has been crazy since this hurricane hit. Oh, man. Sorry about that. I figured I could get to an entire stream without it, but all right. So back in the ring, LA Knight fights back with some chops. LA Knight hits Uso with another neck breaker for a count of 2. LA Knight then a positive rear chin lock in the middle of the ring. Fight's supposed to be outside again. Both men are now going back and forth on the apron. Jey Uso super kicks LA and hits him with a snap suplex on the hardest part of the apron. Jimmy then goes for a cover, but LA kicks out at 2. Both men exchange strikes in the middle of the ring. LA Knight then hits Jimmy with a DDT. Both men are down. LA then hits a flying clothesline to Jimmy. Jimmy runs into a back elbow from LA. Jimmy then hits LA Knight with a Samoan drop for a count of 2. Jimmy then hits LA with the step up enziguri. Jimmy Uso then goes for a splash, but LA Knight hits a power slam. LA Knight then hits a flying elbow for another near fall. LA Knight then goes for a lariat, but he runs into a super kick. Jimmy then heads to the top rope, but LA Knight cuts him off. Solo Sikoa shows up, gets up on the ring apron, acting like he's talking to Jimmy Uso, and he delivers a Samoan spike to his brother. LA Knight is looking at Solo Sikoa, who after that jumped through the crowd, giving him a very he could not believe what happened, honestly, that he wasn't attacked by Solo Sikoa. But Solo Sikoa spiked Jimmy Uso. LA Knight hits Jimmy Uso with the BFT for the 1, 2, 3. Solo Sikoa calls Jimmy Uso, and LA Knight picks up a singles victory over a member of the Bloodline, Jimmy Uso. We head to the back with Jackie Redmond, and she is with the Street Profits. Jackie Redmond asked them about their chance to win the tag titles for the 5th time. Angelo Dawkins says they are ready. Dawkins then says he is 100% and they are ready to get the job done. Montez Ford then says they will show the world that the vision is impaired. Montez Ford then says their London Bridge will go down. And we are the Street Profits, and they don't want to smoke. However it goes. So then Danhausen makes his way out with the t-shirt gun. Danhausen says his blimp did not make it over. Danhausen then mentions how he was distracted in his lab. Danhausen then says he gets interrupted every week. Danhausen then says maybe he needs celebrity security. Danhausen then asks how he can get to the next level in London. Danhausen then says there's a job opportunity open on 10 Downing Street. Danhausen then suggests being Prime Minister of England. So we then see Jackie Redmond in the back looking for Bailey, who is holding her ribs. Jackie Redmond then finds her, and she asks Bailey if Bailey saw it coming. Bailey says she has absolutely nothing to say. Look for some vengeance from Bailey on Lyra Valkyria. So then we go to the Judgment Day clubhouse where we see Raquel Rodriguez, and she said she cannot let these opportunities slip through her fingers. Roxanne Perez then says it should have been her against Liv. And then JD McDonough. They then bring JD McDonough over, and Liv Morgan shows up. And she says, "Can you believe what just happened with Io?" So she's going to humiliate Io Sky. Raquel then mentions that no one is doing well. She then says Dominic lost a lot of money. JD got electrocuted. She then says Roxanne says she said she thought it was going to be Raquel and Liv in the finals. Then Morgan then says Raquel can go after Saul Rucker for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And she also says something about Dominic and JD going after titles, but she never brought up Roxanne. So Roxanne said, "What about me?" And Liv Morgan walks off with JD and Finn. JD and Dom, sorry. So they're still planting the seeds there with Roxanne and Liv. So we then see Corey Graves, and he is with Seth Rollins. Corey then brings up Seth's demand to end the Vision. Seth says the short answer is yes, but plans haven't gone the way he wanted. Seth then says he does not know if he would be here if not for the Street Profits. Seth then says he is one win away from putting the Vision behind him. Corey then brings up he is going to be in a steel cage match against Bron Breakker. He might not win or even walk out of Saudi Arabia. Seth says he knows the risk and a lot can go wrong. Seth then says sometimes you have to find your way around a problem. Seth then says you have to put all your chips on the table, find out who you are. Seth then says he didn't find out who he was the last time he won the world title. Seth then says this match will tell him and the world who he is. Seth then says if he can beat Bron Breakker and put the Vision behind him, he can get on the second goal and win the title he never lost. So we then see Byron Saxton with Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio in the interview area. Byron asks Dragon Lee about the finish of the match. Dragon Lee says he feels bad for disappointing the fans and disappointing Rey. Rey then says Dragon Lee did what he had to do. Dragon then says the people see that he is better than Ethan Page. Dragon Lee then says nobody can put out his fire. Byron then asks how they will get back at Ethan Page. Rey says they have a plan, but they don't want to mention it now. He then says Rusev and Ethan Page suck. He then says Ethan is good at cheating to win. He then says if he has to step in the ring to teach Page how to respect Lucha Libre, he will do so. So we then see Dominic Mysterio, and he tells Chad Gable he won't face Pinto before him. Dominic then says Gable doesn't deserve anything. Dominic then asks Gable for his apology. Dominic then says he wants Adam Pearce to deal with his problem. Chad Gable then says Dominic sent him to Mexico. He then says if you want an apology, he can beat it out of him. Dominic then says he does not hand out matches, but JD will be fine to face him next week. So it looks like we're getting JD McDonough and Chad Gable next week on Raw. Didn't see them advertise that. The Street Profits then make their way down to the ring for the main event of the night. And it is the WWE World Tag Team Championship match. The Vision, Bron Breakker, and Austin Theory defending the Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins. So the match starts off with Bron Breakker and Austin Theory wasting little to no time trying to get the upper hand over Montez and Angelo. Austin Theory then hits several right hands on Montez. Austin Theory then runs into a knee. Angelo Dawkins joins the fray and hits a drop kick. Montez Ford then hits a shoulder tackle to Theory. Bron Breakker then enters the match. Montez Ford then applies a side headlock. Braun Breaker hits him with a clothesline. Braun Breaker then tosses Angelo Dawkins across the ring. Braun Breaker then sends Montez Ford to the outside and draws the attention of the referee, allowing Theory to take a cheap shot. Back in the ring, Austin Theory hits Montez Ford with a double suplex. Austin Theory is now unloading on Ford. Theory then clothesline Montez and Braun, and now Braun is now the legal man. Braun hits a snap suplex, and he follows it up with a standing moonsault for a count of 2. Braun Breaker then applies a rear chin lock on Montez Ford. Austin Theory is now back in action. Montez Ford then tries to fight back, but Austin Theory knocks Angelo Dawkins off the apron with a cheap shot. Braun Breaker then hits Montez Ford behind the referee's back. Montez Ford then hits Austin Theory with a suplex. Angelo Dawkins then comes in and hits a series of clotheslines to Braun Breaker. Angelo Dawkins then hits a spinning elbow, then hits Theory with a silencer. Montez Ford then heads to the top rope, and he takes out Austin Theory. Logan Paul then puts Austin Theory's foot on the ropes. The referee catches Logan Paul red-handed and kicks him away from the ring. He is banned from ringside. Braun Breaker then hits a flying clothesline to Angelo Dawkins to send him over the announce desk. Braun Breaker then smashes Angelo Dawkins' head on the announce desk. And then go back in the ring. Braun Breaker hits a German suplex to Dawkins. Breaker then hits another German suplex to Dawkins. And then tags in Austin Theory. He hits a snap suplex. Dawkins fires back with a snap suplex on Theory, and both men are down. Braun Breaker comes back in, and he stops Dawkins from tagging him forward. Breaker then drops his shoulder into the midsection of Dawkins, and then Dawkins runs into a double elbow. Theory applies a rear chin lock in the middle of the ring. Dawkins tries to fight back, and he slaps Braun Breaker across his face. Both men are now exchanging strikes, and both men are down after a collision. Austin Theory and Montez Ford come in. Ford begins to take the fight to Austin. He hits Theory with a clothesline and follows it up with a series of Irish whips. Montez Ford super kicks Austin Theory and follows it up with a suplex. Montez Ford hits a standing moonsault for only a count of 2. Braun Breaker then enters the match again and slams Montez into the mat and hits his signature bulldog from the top rope. Angelo Dawkins breaks up the pinfall, and then the fight begins to spill to the outside. Braun Breaker then sends Angelo into the steel steps, and Dawkins sends Breaker into the post. And then Logan Paul is back with the brass knuckles, and then out comes Joe Henry, who has been off WWE television for a while since Austin Theory attacked him. Joe Henry's back. Joe Henry then chases Logan Paul out of the arena. But Logan Paul slips the brass knuckles into the ring. Austin Theory then wonders what is going on. He sees the brass knuckles. Before he can grab them, Seth Rollins' music hits, and Braun Breaker waits for him to appear. Seth Rollins then comes to the crowd, and he takes the brass knuckles and punches Austin Theory. Braun Breaker then chases after Rollins into the crowd. And then Angelo Dawkins hits an anointment, and Montez Ford goes up to the top for the 7-star frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. And the winners and your new WWE World Tag Team Champions for the 5th time, the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. After the match, Montez and Angelo celebrate their win and raise the title high above their head as Pyro hits. Vision look dejected, and they stare Rollins down as the show comes to a close. So this has been your Raw recap, guys. Pretty decent show. Especially with it being a go home show. Right before the United Champions PLE coming up Saturday. I guess the only match that was announced is Chad Gable going one-on-one with JD McDonough of the Judgment Day, but ultimately they're going to work up towards this Chad Gable and Penta match coming up that will be happening for Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. So once again, I do apologize, guys. Yesterday it was Father's Day. I'm gonna do a lot better about taking a little bit of time off, especially after a lot of long weeks. I may take a day off here and there, especially for holidays, family time, and stuff like that. But I do appreciate all of you guys coming in. This was kind of a double show. I hate I missed out on LFG, but I will be back the first Sunday in July for episode 11 of LFG. I won't be live for Sunday Scoops next Sunday or LFG, as I will be covering the NXT Great American Bash recap. So, once again, if you are watching live on YouTube, please hit that like button on the stream, and I definitely appreciate all the YouTube comments, guys. We have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We probably have about 70 to 80 comments. Oh, no, probably maybe close to 100. But thank you guys so much. We are live on my YouTube channel, my X page, and on DWE Television X page. Make sure you follow DWE Television on X. You can find all the content creators. Miami the Great, who does Inside the Mind with Miami every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. covering the NFL. Also, Final Boss Baby, the co-host of Talk It Up podcast, and they do DW Radio on Saturdays, live on DWE TV X page, Talk It Up podcast on YouTube, also on Twitch, DW TV, DW Television, and on Spotify. So make sure you follow them and subscribe to them as well. Kyle the Man Anthony, who we saw on here earlier, I will be a guest on his show, second episode Wednesday night after my prediction show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the Queens of WWE, where he covers all of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Also, you can catch Kyle Man Anthony and the World of Greg. They were live earlier. Director Reg was taking his spot, did a great job. Every Monday, an hour before Monday Night Raw, you can catch the World of Greg and Kyle as they go over the match card for the upcoming Raw, and for an hour before Raw, get you ready for the upcoming Raw. I'm also follow Director Reg, After the Slam podcast from X and YouTube, the Smoke Sessions podcast, and Sports Jedi Network. Everyone affiliated with Gimmick Table Media as well. Once again, thank you guys for the double portion of the Raw recap and the Sun. I didn't give any news today. The Sunday Scoops and LFG will be back on Sunday, the first Sunday of July, the day after the 4th, which will be Sunday, July the 5th. It will not be a Sunday Scoops or an LFG next Sunday. But make sure you guys have that notification bell on. Join us Wednesday night as we have the triple main event prediction show, where we will be predicting WWE United Champions, NXT Great American Bash, and AEW Forbidden Door. The first time I will ever have done a AEW PLE prediction show here on the EVP show. So turn that notification bell on and come join us Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the double header, or triple header, basically, of PLEs. But once again, shout out to the 184 people that's watching live for the Raw / Sunday Scoop Q&A live here on the EVP show, Monday, June 22nd, 2026. I will be back shortly to tell you guys where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for the rest of this week.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go, show recap prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Raw, Monday Night Raw, June 22nd, 2026, and half of the Sunday Night Scoops Q&A recap show. As far as my social media platforms, you can see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. All my links are in my bio. You can follow me on X at EVPCJP. My YouTube page is pinned at the top of my Twitter page. I'm up to 229 subscribers. If you are following me live on YouTube, please turn the notification bell on and come and join me every time I'm live, which will be every day this week. I have a stream every single day this week, so hopefully you guys tune in and join me for all my streams this week. Instagram at EVPCJP, where you can see all my upcoming streams made by Miami the Great and the World of Greg for the upcoming streams. My YouTube page is pinned in my bio. TikTok as well at Brady the Goat 21 at BRADYDA Goat 21, where you can see all my upcoming videos for upcoming streams, and my YouTube page is pinned in my bio as well. Last but not least, most importantly, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you can't find my YouTube channel on any of my social media platforms, go to the search bar and type in at the EVP Show. If you are subscribed, once again, as I said, turn that notification bell on and come join me live. What I have coming up next for you guys tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be live for the Go Home show of NXT. It's the last NXT before Great American Bash. So come join me at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night for the NXT Recap Show. Wednesday, as I mentioned earlier, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Turn that notification bell on. It is a triple PLE prediction show. We will be predicting the WWE Night of Champions, the NXT Great American Bash, and the AEW Forbidden Door prediction show with 9, at least right now, 8 other people, hopefully 9 by the time Wednesday gets here. But turn the notification bell on and come give your comments for all 3 shows in the comment section. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night, I'm back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the TNA Recap Show. Friday night, it is the last WWE SmackDown for 3 hours until January. And it is the Go Home show right before Night of Champions. Come join me at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time Friday night for the SmackDown Recap Show. I'm not usually live on Saturday, but I will be this Saturday. It is the Night of Champions PLE. Come join me live Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the WWE Night of Champions Recap Show. And then Sunday night, it's not a doubleheader, but come join me at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday night for the NXT Great American Bash Recap Show. With that being said, guys, that is it for us tonight for the Monday Night Raw Recap Show live here on the EVP Show, Monday, June 22nd, 2026. I am the EVP from the EVP Show, the golden boy of DWE, and DWE is the only place to be.
Thanks for joining the EVP CJP. Tune in next Sunday at 6 p.m.
Thanks for coming to Sunday Night Scoops, hosted by the Golden Boy of DWE CJP. See you all next Sunday at 6 p.m.
With that being said, guys, hopefully you guys have a good Tuesday, and I will see you guys tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time for your NXT Recap Show. Good night, everyone.